today's era of globalization, augmenting skills of persuasiveness, debating, and negotiating have become obligatory on the part of educational institutions to provide a plethora of opportunities to the young minds to cultivate and nourish ingenuity, leadership skills, mental agility, confidence, and commitment to the cause. Namaskar. I, Tisha Mazumdar,
And I, Arzu Bhalla,
heartily welcome all of you to the Conclave Battle of Wits under the cap of third edition of Virtual Model United Nations 2022, which is fifth in its series. This conclave is a befitting platform to simulate, enhance, and reciprocate cooperation diplomacy and refine skill sets of young delegates to take on global challenges.
on this momentous occasion, it is our proud privilege and fortune to welcome School Chairperson Ms. Madhu Gupta and School Manager Mr. Puneet Gupta, who have always enlightened our path and guided us to excel and soar high. We place on record a very warm welcome to our school principal, Ms. Archana Narayan, for her gracious presence here today. Ma'am, your aura has lent a unique charm to the occasion. We feel elated to welcome our school coordinators for their unconditional support and guidance. Sir and ma'am, your presence has always inspired each one of us.
We also take this opportunity to accord a warm welcome to all the delegates, executive board members, and the panel of judges who have made time to attend this conclave. We all are indeed delighted and honored by your presence on this significant day.
Dance is the hidden language of the soul. It is an expression of sublimity and purity which could be defined as divine. Here we present before you a dance as we herald today's mega event to make us realize what peace stands for.
We have a long way to go before we are able to hear the voices of everyone on earth. But I believe that providing voices, building bridges is essential for the world peace we all wish for. Peace is not merely a distant goal that we see, but a means by which we arrive at the goal. We must see that peace represents a sweeter music, a cosmic melody that is far superior to the discords of war. The most valuable possession you can own is an open heart. The most powerful weapon you can have is an instrument of peace. Peace is a daily, a weekly, a monthly process, critically changing opinions, slowly eroding barriers, building new structures. World peace must develop from inner peace. Peace is not just mere absence of violence. Peace is the manifestation of human compassion. Nothing is more precious than world peace. It is the most basic starting point for the advancement of humankind. Let us join our efforts toward building the unshakable foundations of a culture of peace. Actions for peace do not need to take in some special arena. There are opportunities to work for peace in your homes, your school, and your neighborhoods. The fact is, wherever you are in your main arena for realizing peace, your daily lives are the soil from which the seeds of peace will blossom and sprout.
Thank you for the beautiful and mesmerizing performance. Can we please have a huge round of applause?
Poetry is not only dream and vision, it is the skeleton architecture of our lives. It lays the foundations for a future of change, a bridge across our fears of what has never been before. May I now request Arzu Bhalla to recite a poem on the significance of human activity towards global peace.
Peace is the path we take for bringing growth and prosperity to society. If we do not have peace and harmony, achieving political strength, economic stability, and cultural growth will be impossible. Moreover, before we transmit the notion of peace to others, it is vital for us to possess peace within. It is not a certain individual's responsibility to maintain peace, but everyone's duty. When wars and conflicts totally cease, in our world there shall be peace. People must learn to get along, not blame others for being wrong. They fight for control, fight for land. Some just need a helping hand. We must rid ourselves of vanity and embrace peace through humanity. Wars make children so much tougher, lose their innocence while they suffer. We should fight for peace. Instead, love not war, we should spread.
Thank you, Arzu, for that thought provoking poetry. May we have a huge round of applause. Now, moving forward, let us introduce you to the panel of judges. Our judges are social science teachers who have stimulated each of their students to read between the lines and think outside the box. They truly believe that if any problem exists, so must solutions. Yes, they are none other than our beloved teachers, Miss Gargi Chatterjee and Miss Sonia Arora.
Next, I would like to invite the executive board members of this conclave, Ms. Trishna Chaudhary, President, and Master Tejas Chaudhary, Vice President. Ms. Trishna is our MUN Secretary and Master Tejas is our MUN Prefect. Their enthusiasm and healthy competing spirit makes them the ideal executive board members.
Along with them, we have a panel of reporters who will take turns asking a question from the delegates regarding their agenda. We also have a team of photographers and videographers to capture this event to have a permanent memory of this conclave. No conclave is complete without a panel of cartoonists. Our very own panel will be creating artistic interpretations of various delegates and their points and add a humorous touch to it. We will be holding 2 conclave sessions, Agenda 1 Global Peace and Agenda 2 Space Race.
Now I would request our school principal, Ms. Archana Narayan, to declare Conclave Battle of Wits open.
Thank you so much. Good morning and my hearty greetings to each one present here. I'm feeling so energized actually by this dynamic gathering and whatever I've heard just now. Bill Ferreter has rightly said, empowering students is about giving them the skills and knowledge to get excited about their passions, their future, and their interests. The aim, in fact, of today's MUN Conclave is to make each one of you a global thinker. And this event has been organized with a mission because United Nations is our one great hope for peaceful and free world, and is still the best instrument for making the world less fragile. We're seeing what all is happening around us. So I'm sure this endeavor is going to ignite some thought-provoking ideas to bring a positive change in you and around you. And I'm sure your active participation in today's event will surely empower each one of you with new skills, knowledge, and is going to motivate you to chase your dreams and set new goals for yourself. Students, we have to remember that we are living in a constant changing world, a world which offers myriads, challenges, and opportunities. Now it is up to us how we face those challenges and how we grab the opportunities. Being the future leader of tomorrow, it is very, very important that you should be aware of what is happening around you in the world. And I'm quite sure MUN is one step towards it because it prepares you all to understand the intricacies of global problem. And at the same time, it gives a lot of opportunities to explore and improve your own capabilities, your own potential, so that you can bring out a positive resolution to these problems. So no doubt, we all are going to witness the display of great knowledge as well as whenever, whatever, wherever you do anything, always remember, children, we must try and learn from that moment and try and create memories, because then only we can cherish those memories and then enjoy and look forward to. So your active participation in the event is going to probably help you today to understand the importance of communication skills, leadership qualities, global acumen, public speaking prowess, critical thinking, tolerance, discipline, commitment, compassion, and cooperation. And I'm sure you're going to then slowly and gradually imbibe also all these things. So it gives me immense joy to see, whenever I see the children taking the center stage and when they start sharing the learning, it really gives me a lot of happiness and the satisfaction that yes, we are moving in the right direction. So I'm sure you all must have done extensive research while preparing your research papers on the two agendas of today's conclave: space, race, and global peace. So wishing each one of you all the very best. Children, you are the hope and the future of the world. So now is the time to reflect and reimagine a world with your creative ideas, because you are a bundle of creativeness and innovativeness. So come out with those creative ideas. And you have to think that how you're going to redesign the thought process and how in your own manner, with your own small little efforts, you are going to contribute to make sure that you will not only meet the mission, vision of the MUN, but also achieve sustainable development goals also at the same time. Get that inner peace and happiness, which is going to be utmost important. So I convey my best wishes to all the delegates. I announce the MUN Conclave open. So all the very best. Let us advance together to the future we want. Thank you so much and God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am. I would now request Principal Ma'am, the panel of judges, the EVA, and all the delegates to come close to the screen for a group photograph. Thank you.
It is rightly said, world peace is one project we have to do together. Before we begin, let us reiterate the rules of the conclave Battle of Wits, Global Peace.
Each delegate will be given 2 minutes 30 seconds to state their case. After 2 minutes, a bell will be rung, asking you to conclude your speech. Exceeding the time limit will result in deduction of marks. After the speech, you'll be asked one question by the president or the vice president and one by the reporters. You'll have 2 minutes 30 seconds to answer the question. The participant will be judged on his/her confidence, speaking skills, accuracy of information, and how you answer the question.
With all that under the way, I now request the President to commence with the roll call.
Thank you. We will now begin with our first agenda, Global Peace roll call. Please attend to your roll call, and when your country's name is announced, please say present and speaking. Ireland,
Present and speaking.
Russia,
Present and speaking.
Pakistan,
Present and speaking.
Norway,
Present and speaking.
United States,
Present and speaking.
right. Brazil,
Present and speaking.
Albania,
Present and speaking.
India, we will move forward. France,
Present and speaking.
Egypt, United Arab Emirates,
Present and speaking.
Sudan,
Present and speaking.
China, Mexico,
Present and speaking.
United Kingdom,
Present and speaking.
Republic of Korea.
Present and speaking.
Thank you. So first, we will have the delegate of Ireland. Delegate, the floor is all yours.
Good morning to the Executive Board and all the distinguished guests present here. I represent the Republic of Ireland. Yet while we celebrate the end of violence, the lives saved and the futures transformed, we are reminded daily of the challenges of sustaining peace. Michael D. Higgins, President of Ireland. Ireland's own experience of conflict has been an important influence on our policies and actions in the sphere of international peace. Ireland has strong commitment to peacekeeping and peace building as part of its consistent foreign policy. For the past 63 years, we have been the only nation to have continuous presence on UN and UN mandated peace support operations since 1958. Since 2006, Ireland has contributed $14.5 million to the UN Secretary General's Peace Building Fund. In 2007, Ireland's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade established Conflict Resolution Unit to improve the country's contribution to international conflict resolution. Presently, this fifth term of Ireland as elected member in the Security Council is underpinned by the three principles of building peace, strengthening prevention, and ensuring accountability. Ireland has witnessed adverse effect of conflict on women and how crucial women's involvement have been during Northern Ireland peace building process. We have been a catalyst in advocating Security Council Resolution 1325 on Women, Peace and Security Agenda, and 9 subsequent resolutions complementing the agenda. We also have a National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security. To conclude, we are here to make a difference, to bring a principled and constructive approach for promoting international peace and security through our presence as a member in the Security Council. We reiterate our support to global peacekeeping missions and encourage use of advanced technologies to save lives of the peacekeeping troops. Highlight importance of reconciliation process post-conflict, urges greater engagement of women and regional stakeholders in the peace process and supports global disarmament. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Now, may we have a few questions from the EB?
Okay, Ireland. So, question for you is, other than women empowerment, what other global issues is Ireland helping the UN with?
Thank you for your question. Membership of the United Nations has been central to Ireland's foreign policy since we became a member in 1955. The principles and values enshrined in the UN Charter are those we have always sought to promote and protect, including our current term as a member in the UN Security Council for 2021 to 2022. Ireland is working actively on thematically issues addressed by the Security Council, including peace and security, conflict and hunger, climate and security, human rights, youth, peace and security, disarmament and non-proliferation, children and armed conflict, conflict prevention and mediation, and protection of civilians.
Very good. So, reporters, any questions?
Yes.
Just a second. Sorry to interrupt. I would like to reiterate the rules for the delegates once again. Each delegate will be given 2 minutes, 30 seconds to state their case. After 2 minutes, a bell will be rung, asking you to conclude your speech. Exceeding the time limit will result in deduction of marks. And after the speech, you'll be asked one question by the president or the vice president and one by the reporters. You'll have 2 minutes, 30 seconds to answer that very question. You'll be judged on your confidence, speaking skills, accuracy of information, and how you answer the question.
May I continue? Okay. As stated by your country, that your country has an active participation and work in direction through your international NGO partners. So my question is, what kind of work does your country do with international NGO partners?
Thank you for your question, madam. As a nation, we strongly believe in engaging with civil society organizations towards peacemaking and peace building. Through our international development program, Irish Aid, Ireland makes a difference around 130 countries each year, changing people's lives for the better. Irish Aid works with reputed NGOs on various thematic areas, notably women, peace and security, gender-based violence in emergencies, and research and standards for humanitarian action. We also have a strong partnership with the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. It allows us to promote our shared humanitarian values, support the activities of local Red Cross, Red Crescent branches throughout the world in assisting those in need. Another key partner is the International Committee of the Red Cross. It provides humanitarian protection and assistance for victims of war and armed violence. Our partnership with the movement allows us to target our humanitarian assistance where needs are greatest, such as in South Sudan, Syria, and Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, Delegate of Ireland. That was quite informative, and we sure hope to see such changes proposed by you in the near future.
Thank you.
Next, we have the delegate of Russia. Delegate, you may begin now.
Greetings to the EB and the delegates present here. Attainment of global peace may seem a Herculean task, but not impossible. We, a country that faced a grievous bloodbath of our brother in arms murdering each other. Yes, the Russian Revolution. Since then, our country has been working laboriously to build peace, not only in our country, but around the world. Russia has always been interested in maintaining a good relationship with every country and wants to see them as friends whose foundation of trust is strong. Russia also believes that for a better future for the younger generation, the establishment of peace is a necessity. Russia has taken several steps to resolve conflicts, both internal and external. Russia pledged not to use nuclear weapons under the Non-Proliferation Treaty to prevent another world war. Russia is maintaining a strategic partnership with India that is rooted in long-standing mutual trust characterized by unmatched reciprocal support to each other's core interests and unique people-to-people affinities. as it helped India to liberate East Pakistan from the discriminating rule of West Pakistan. Russia-India relationship plan on reaching unprecedented heights economically, recognizing the importance of cooperation between India and Russia for global peace and stability. Russia is sure to promote a multipolar international system based on the central role of the United Nations and international law. On the other hand, there are countries like Sudan and China who are acting as the harbingers of violence and are disturbing the global peace. Protests and large-scale massacres are taking place due to the inefficiency of Sudan government. China, on the other hand, is continuing its strategy to capture territories as they did in the past with Tibet, and currently trying to acquire territory in India, which is evident with the Galwan standoff, leading to tensions between India and China, which may lead to an all-out war. Last but not least, Russia believes in the feeling of oneness and is quite adamant to lead the world to a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. On to the question round.
So, Russia, my question to you is, as of today, at least 1 lakh troops are positioned within reach of Ukraine's border. Rumors are that Russia is preparing to invade Ukraine. So, what is Russia's agenda behind taking such a step?
The assembling of 100,000 soldiers on the Russia-Ukraine border is nothing but a military drill that was scheduled. It was nothing but a big misunderstanding on the part of Ukraine.
Thank you, Russia. The reporters may take over.
Yes. So my question for you is, Russia lies close to the Korean Peninsula, and throughout history, there have been numerous conflicts in that area. So, if in the future a greater conflict arises, what would be Russia's approach to it, keeping in mind global peace, of course?
If such situation arises, then Russia will try its best to negotiate. But if situation gets worse, then Russia will use its armed force in Korea to protect against non-continental adversaries, as it happened in 1904, 1905, 1945, and though on a very limited scale in 1950 to 1953.
Thank you. That was very well researched.
Next, we have the delegate of Pakistan. Delegate, you have 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The stage is yours.
Good morning, respected EB and one and all present here. I am the delegate of Pakistan. As you would all know, Pakistan was declared as an independent nation on 14th August 1947. Since its existence, it has been striving hard to maintain global peace. It joined the UN on 30th September 1947. Since then, it has signed innumerable peace treaties internationally. To mention a few, the Karachi Agreement, the Treaty of San Francisco, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, etc. I come from the land of the famous peace activist and the winner of Nobel Peace Prize, Malala Yousafzai, who dared the bullets of the terrorists. She had famously said, "I speak not for myself, but for those without voice, those who fought for their right to live in peace, their right to be treated with dignity, their right to equality of opportunity, their right to be educated." I echo the sentiments of Malala. Pakistan wants the strengthening of the UN because it's the most significant international organization for the maintenance of global peace. Another iconic champion of global peace, Martin Luther King, had said, "True peace is not just merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice." Pakistan sincerely believes in creating a just global order where everyone lives peacefully and gets justice. Pakistan has put its best foot forward to help the world and the UN in maintaining global peace. It shall strive hard and fight for global peace and for peaceful settlements of all disputes. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Any questions from the EB's end?
So, Delegate of Pakistan, you mentioned that Pakistan considers fostering global peace, but according to a report by The Hindu, Pakistan is home to 12 foreign terrorist organizations, namely Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul Mujahideen, etc. And it is also called a safe haven for terrorists. What is the Pakistan government doing in this area?
I would like to answer this question in two parts. Firstly, Pakistan is itself a victim of terrorist attacks. For instance, the Peshawar incident, where 134 students were killed by fully armed Taliban terrorists. Secondly, wherever possible, Pakistan has taken actions against terrorism and is committed to not let Pakistani soil be used for terrorism.
Thank you. Reporters, any questions?
Yes, Pakistan's economy was weak before COVID-19, surviving on IMF loan package of 6 billion and burdened by an external debt of about 112 billion. Today, it is facing the additional challenge of feeding 25 million families that have lost their incomes. Yet, Pakistan still maintains one of the highest military budgets in the world. What do you say on this?
I agree. I agree that Pakistan has spent a lot of its money on defense because of security threats and terrorism, but not at the cost of its country's education and welfare of the people. Its educational budget for the financial year of 2021 is $108 billion, according to the national newspaper of Pakistan, Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. That was a beautifully framed answer. Well done.
Next, we have the delegate of Norway. Delegate, you may begin now.
Honorable Chair and esteemed delegates, I, the delegate of Norway, would like to speak a few words on the objective of global peace. The delegate is honored to be a part of today's session and discuss the issue at hand. On several occasions, Norway has been described as the humanitarian superpower. It was also labeled as the world's most peaceful country. Global peace is something that it has acquainted itself with and has been an avid supporter of bringing the benefits and acknowledging the struggles of global peace to light. In 2015, Norway launched a Nordic Women Mediator for the inclusivity of women. It has done a great deal of work for women and gender equality. While building a sheltered environment for its people, Norway has also helped several other nations solve disputes and conflicts over the years. It has been involved in peace procedures since 1993. Norway has also addressed and worked on the subject of climate change. At the 2021 COP26, it won the Foster of the Day award for its own gas. Norway has guaranteed over 3 billion NOK every year to improve the livelihood of people residing in or near the forests, and has also taken upon the initiative to save the world's tropical forests. During the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic, Norway co-chaired with South Africa in the Access to the COVID-19 Tools Accelerator and raised over 18 billion US dollars for the production and exportation of vaccines all around the world, and also for finding the cure for the disease. The country gives a total of $4.29 billion for foreign aid and was also named as one of the world's largest donors of humanitarian aid worldwide in 2021. Norway has not only provided immense support and aid to its citizens, but has done a plethora of work for the whole world. It continues to ameliorate everyone's livelihood globally while developing as a democracy. In my perspective, global peace should be defined by unity and equality, and Norway has managed to shed plenty of light on these factors. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We would now like to move on for the question round.
So, delegate of Norway, according to BBC, Norway has the highest rate of deaths by drug overdose in Europe. That is 70 per million. What is your take on this?
My take on this is the number of long-term opioid users have increased by 20%. That means 10,000 individuals over an 11 years period in Norway due to an increase in number of long-term users receiving reimbursed opioids to treat chronic non-malignant pain. Also, the police in Norway are doing a lot of work to prevent drug use, and Norway has made the usage of drugs illegal, and importing drugs has severe penalties.
Thank you, Norway. Reporters?
Yes, so my question is, if the enthusiasm and willingness is present among the citizens, why is Norway still on the 14th on the peace rank. Which factors do you think are holding it back?
I believe that Norway is still on its path to greatness. It is developing and it's moving forward with this new generation. Frankly, it has managed to do a lot of great things that other countries haven't been able to do. It has several new plans for the future and has started to work on them immediately.
Thank you for your answer.
That was indeed quite elaborative. Well done, delegate.
Now we have the delegate of the United States. Delegate, the floor is yours.
Okay. Greetings to the EB and one and all present here. I, delegate of United States of America, will talk about the country's contribution in global peace. In the aftermath of World War II, countries around the world agreed that an international institution was necessary to maintain global peace and security. The United States was instrumental in the design and formation of the United Nations through the vision of President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Harry S. Truman. The UN Charter, with its emphasis on peace, security, international law, and economic development, reflected the influence of US Franklin D. Roosevelt and British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, who shared a vision for the post-war world. In 1941, the two leaders drafted the Atlantic Charter as a result of the war. That post-war international relations would be cooperative and that disputes between states and would be resolved through peaceful negotiation and not the use of threat. The Atlantic Charter eventually became the basis for the UN Charter. UN Nations headquarters located in New York City is now primary forum and demonstrate the extent of US involvement in the rise of global leadership in the post-war period, working hand in hand with Europe. United States, European allies and partners bilaterally and through the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the European Union, and the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe to tackle the key of global security challenges and advancing transatlantic peace and security. And that is part of US foreign policy for more than a century. Produced by the Institute for Economics and Peace, the GPI is the world's leading measure of global peacefulness. In the year 2019, US GPI was 2.308. In 2020, it was 2.270. And in 2021, it was 2.337. And in 2022, now it was 2.462. The United Nations strategy to prevent conflict and promote stability in the coming years seeks to break the costly cycle of fragility and promote peacefulness, self-reliant nations that become US economic and military partners. When stabilization, partnerships, and management is what US is projecting to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. Now may we have a few questions from the EB?
Delegate of USA, you mentioned that USA took many steps to achieve its objective of global peace, but still, it ranks 121 in peacefulness out of 163 countries. So, what are US government's plans to further achieve this objective?
Thank you for the question. USA being the most developed country in the world is a possible reason. The country plans to engage in peace building, anticipate and prevent violent conflict before it erupts, support inclusive political processes to resolve ongoing violent conflicts, promote burden sharing, and encourage and work with partners to create coordinations for long-term regional stability and foster private sector-led growth, at the same time maximize US taxpayer dollars and realize more effective outcomes through prioritization.
Thank you. Reporters.
Yes, as stated by your country that you have a strategy to prevent conflict and promote stability. So if there is a situation where your country has to deal with international conflict, what methods will your country use?
Close coordination with UN nations and hand in hand with local embassies with partnering nations. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer.
Thank you, delegate. That was quite an elucidate answer.
Next, we have the delegate of Brazil. Delegate, you may begin now.
Good morning, EBs, and one and all present here. I, delegate of Brazil, would like to tell you about the contribution of Brazil in global peace. Though Brazil ranks 128th in all over the globe, But this doesn't mean that it does not care about global peace. And to prove this, I've got many reasons. Brazil has participated in 33 United Nations peacekeeping missions and contributed with over 27,000 soldiers. Brazil has been a member of the United Nations Security Council 10 times. Since the early 2000s, Brazil has acted in the areas of development cooperations, peacekeeping missions, and other initiatives related to peace building, and not just implementing concrete initiatives, but also participating in normative debates and were advocating for alternative approaches. Out of the 71 missions ever authorized by the Organization Security Council, Brazil was present in 50 of them. With regards to the first dimension, the number of troops in Minutaha was the peace operation to which Brazil contributed with most troops. Since in the previous year, 2003, Brazil occupied the 51st position in United Nations 2003. The Brazilian contribution to peace operation remained high and reached its peak after the earthquake that hit Haiti. The country went from 13th position in 2010 to 11th position in 2012. In the year 2022 to 2023 Benign, Brazil will prioritize the prevention and peaceful solution of conflicts, the efficiency of peace missions and humanitarian responses to international crises, the consolidation of peace through action aimed at development, respect for human rights, and greater participation of women in action to promote international peace and security. The country will also seek to improve the Council's articulation with other UN bodies, with regional bodies taking part in conflict resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Brazil. That was a really great speech. Do we have any questions from the EB?
Seeing no questions, the reporters may take over if you have any questions.
Yes, I do. So, as the delegate mentioned, that despite numerous measures, Brazil still does rank 128 on the Global Peace Index. So, what could be the reasons for this?
In my opinion, Brazil ranks 128th place on the Global Peace Index because, as I already told you in my speech, Brazil work for global peace came in recognition after its mission in Haiti, and also the country is also planning different methods to bring global peace, like prioritizing the prevention and peaceful solution of conflicts, the efficiency of peace mission, and many more. And also, there has been a predilection for multilateralism, which has been essential to understand Brazilian effort to promote democracy and human rights abroad. So I think that Brazil is in a developing stage for global peace and will soon make it onto the top.
Thank you, Brazil. You have a question from my side. So, how do you plan to improve the Council's articulation with other UN bodies?
In Brazil, there is a difference between poor and rich, which is one of the factors which leads to conflict. So I think that the Council's articulation and UN bodies should make different laws that will make everyone feel equal and would contribute to global peace. And also, it is seen that corruption is rising day by day in Brazil. Different gangs bribe money to police to supply arms, so the Council's articulation with help of other UN body should also make laws regarding it and take strict action to punish the corrupted people. In my opinion, this would help improve the work of Council's articulation and other UN bodies to improve peace in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brazil. That was quite a well-researched answer. Next, we have the delegate of Albania. Delegate, the floor is all yours.
Greetings, the EB and one and all present here. I, here the delegate of Albania, is going to talk about global peace. Albania, on the southern Eastern Europe Balkans Peninsula, is a small country with Adriatic and Ionian coastlines and an interior crossed by Albanian Alps. The country has many castles and archaeological sites.
Capital Tirana centers on sprawling Skanderbeg Square site of National History Museum, which exhibits spanning antiquity to post-consumerism and Frost Ethembe Mosque. There are two Albanian states today, Albania and Kosovo, which is the newest state in the world. Significant Albanian majority lands due to the historical events are also included as territorial parts of neighboring states of Montenegro, Macedonia, and Serbia. Over the past 2 decades, Albania has transformed from one of the most poorest countries in Europe to an upper middle income country, reducing the poverty from 25.4% in 2002 to 14.3% in 2012. The global financial crisis halted growth, slowed poverty reduction. Ethnic Albanians have a mix of Muslims, that's 70%, Eastern Orthodox, that's 20%, and Roman Catholic, that's 10%. Recently, the Albanian government has undertaken a comprehensive action against the phenomena of illegal tracking, smuggling, corruption, and abuse of power. Being at the crossroad between East and West, Albanian territory has been attractive for criminal activities, local or international, to be exploited as a bridge of trafficking of human beings, drugs, arms, and goods. The crisis and conflicts that our region has been forced to experience had contributed to the attraction. For this purpose, the Albanian government has taken concrete commitments to cut off all humans and all forms of trafficking. Now, what do we do to maintain global peace? The main thing that first comes in our mind when we hear global peace is women's security. We can follow some rules to maintain the women's security, like at nights the police checking should be increased, roads should have more lights placed, and should be more security in buses and public transports. Thank you.
Thank you, Albania. Next, can we have the question round?
So, against trafficking, what all measures will be taken to secure its borders?
Can you repeat your question? Your voice was breaking.
Sure. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now.
All right. So my question to you is, apart from taking measures against human trafficking, what all measures has Albania taken to secure its borders?
Currently in Albania, there are 71 Frontex officers from the 20 different UE countries, which helps the local Albanian authorities to control borders and fight cross-border crime, including human trafficking, tourism, and people smuggling.
Thank you. Reporters, any question?
My question for Albania is, how can Albania prevent human trafficking or criminal activity?
As I said in my speech, that Albania is between East and West and the main bridge of trafficking. So Albania can increase the security, and more checkings and passes should be made to enter the Albania. Thank you.
Thank you, Albania. That was indeed quite a detailed answer. Well done, delegate. We will be taking a short break, and after then we will continue with the global peace agenda. Thank you. All right, we will now be beginning again with the global peace. Next, we have the delegate of France. Delegate, you may begin now.
Greetings to the IBs and one and all present here. I am the delegate of France. The central task for France's foreign policy in the era of President Emmanuel Macron has been to regain recognition that France is a world power like the Soviet Union before it. The United Nations is a positive platform for this aspiration, as France, with its UN Security Council, is a privileged member of what it sees as a concert of world powers. France has submitted the world's first draft convention to the United Nations to expand the types of recognized cyber crimes. With an aim to deter cyber criminals, France has submitted the world's first draft convention for strengthening laws against cybercrime to the United Nations. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. We will now move on to the question round.
So, delegate of France, my question to you is, where does France rank in terms of Global Peace Index?
Okay, yeah. In terms of Global Peace Index, France ranks 55th position.
All right. Reporters.
Yes, so my question for you is, what are France's future plans to further achieve the agenda of global peace?
France has supported the agenda from the outset and has been particularly active in promoting it internationally in recent years. France has supported the agenda from the outset and has been particularly active in promoting.
Thank you, France. That was a very good answer. Next, we have the delegate of United Arab Emirates. UAE, the floor is all yours.
Greetings, EB and one and all. I, the delegate of United Arab Emirates, would like to start my speech on a small note that how Western countries view Arab. Many Western countries have criticized Arab for having continuous riots and not cooperating with each other to resolve it. Whereas, on other hand, UAE has emerged as one of the most peaceful countries in the part of Middle East, and it is clearly visible in statistics. Statistics show that United Arab Emirates is ranked 52 in Global Peace Ranking Index. United Arab Emirates is ranked as third most peaceful country in Middle East and North Africa as per newly released Global Peace Index. Let's start with the technological advancement in UAE. The country has shown the world that how a country with really low population and even low resource area can become really rich and have really high GDP. The population of UAE is 9.9 million as per 2020, out of which 8.1 million people are expatriates and rest of 1.8 million people are local citizens, but still the country is providing a lot of jobs and fundamental rights to expatriates. UAE is also providing other countries cheaper crude oil when compared to other Arab countries. It, it exports 2,428 barrels of crude oil per day. While doing all this, UAE also helps other countries in resolving their internal issues. For example, when India was doing amendment of removing Article 370 and Article 31A from its constitution, all the Arab countries were against India except UAE. It supported Indian government in its amendment, and it also helped India to raise this issue in United Nations. While UAE help other countries to resolve their internal issues and raising their issues in United Nations. It also manages a lot of cultural diversity and religious diversity. For example, it is first and only Arab country which has constructed a Hindu temple on its soil, named as Sri Narayanam Temple. UAE is also home to world's largest building. Many people from all over world come to visit this building every year. But still, there are really low cases of robbing or misbehaving. Also, we see that the rate of homicide and killing of expatriates is reported 6 in 1 million, even though percentage of expatriates in UAE is 90%. Still, the people of the country and expatriates have equal rights. Now, it's clearly visible to us that how UAE provides every person in its country equal opportunity, and it also helps other countries to resolve their internal issues, and it manages a lot of diversity. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate. That was a very well researched speech. On to the question round.
Okay, UAE, a question for you is, the UAE has recently signed a peace treaty with Israel. Does the UAE plan to urge its neighboring countries to do the same?
Thank you for your question. UAE always encouraged peace, whether at the world level or with its neighbors. UAE is third Middle East country beside Jordan and Egypt to recognize Israel as a nation. And since Israel had a sour relations with all other countries of Middle East, it would be a tough journey for UAE to convince them. But it has been trying its best to encourage its neighbors to do the same.
Thank you, UAE. On to the reporters, please.
Yes. Good morning, delegate. Your question is, in which way did you help India? Even after the amendment of Article 370, there was a lot of inner conflict in India itself. Cross-border terrorism is still not curbed.
UAE helped India in United Nations when Pakistan and China raised the issue of India removing Article 370 to be an international issue rather than its internal issue. And in response, the same UAE supported India, stating that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India and what status it gets is up to what India wants. And being a sovereign state, India has full rights to amend its constitution for benefits of its own citizens. And in talking of inner conflicts and cross border terrorism in India, it is still an internal matter of India. And as per the policy of the UAE, we shall give India full right to take the first action towards the same, but will be standing beside India in decision it takes till it doesn't take a step that harms the fundamental rights of its citizens and violation of human rights doesn't occur. As UAE never support violation of human rights as peace within the society is building block for the world peace. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate.
Thank you, UAE. That was indeed an elaborate answer to the questions asked. Well done, delegate.
Now we have the delegate of Sudan. Delegate, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, EB's fellow delegates and everyone present here. With prior permission of the Executive Board, the delegate of Sudan would like to speak on the agenda Global Peace. The delegate is more than honored to be a part of this conclave and express opinion in the preceding issue. Albert Einstein once said, peace cannot be kept by force, it can only be achieved by understanding. Less than a year or after, the old Greater Sudan split into two, Northern Republic of Sudan and the new Republic of South Sudan, or North and South Sudan for clarity. The two countries were again in a state of war. Years of international efforts to bring an end to decades of conflict by helping to negotiate the Comprehensive Peace Agreement of 2005, and later efforts to ensure a smooth separation of North and South Sudan appear to have come to naught. The basis for the view of many of the rebel groups in the country that their conflicts are the result of not only racial or religious discrimination, but most importantly, regional marginalization. In 2005, a comprehensive peace agreement was reached between the Sudan's People Liberation Movement (SPLMA) and the government of Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. Sudan's civilization-led transitional government and the Sudan's revolutionary movements signed a peace agreement aimed at ending decades of war in which hundreds of thousands died. And this historic achievement will pave the way for inclusive and comprehensive peace in Sudan. Thank you. With this, the delegate of Sudan would like to keep the floor open for questions, comments, or suggestions.
Thank you, Delegate. Now for the question round.
Thank you, Delegate of Sudan. So my question for you is, has the military takeover helped the country to ensure peace inside and outside of its borders?
Thank you for the question. Yes, the military takeover has exposed and deepened the mistrust between the military and the civilian components, and within the civilian component itself. And the 21st November agreement has not led to a rebuilding of lost trust. This was also similarly said by Ms. Perthes, who is the head of UN Assistance Mission in Sudan, UNITAMS.
Thank you, Egypt. On to the reporters.
Yes, I would like to know about the measures being taken for the safety and security of women and children in the country.
Life has been improving for all, and the economic crisis, as the Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok brought Sudan from the cold state of them to silence the terrorism as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very well researched.
Next, we have the delegate of Egypt. Delegate, you have 2 minutes, 30 seconds. The floor is yours.
Delegate of Egypt, beta, you are on mute mode. Please unmute.
Egypt, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself. Yes, speak now, please, from the very beginning.
No, still not audible.
Voice is not reaching.
All right, Egypt, please look again through your mic'd devices. We will give you a chance towards the end of this agenda. Next, may we have the delegate of Mexico. Delegate, the floor is all yours.
Good morning, EB and one and all present here. I am the representative of Mexico for its Global Peace Initiative. We are living in a time where the world is increasingly faced with problems related to poverty, climate change, and conflict, and we need to work together to form alliances towards solving these problems together. Our country will work to prioritize the well-being of people as a matter of world policy. Mexico's principles of foreign policy are in complete harmony with the principles and purposes of the UN Charter, and therefore Mexico will continue to act in full adherence to its constitutional and international law, in particular the UN Charter, and it will also promote cooperation and dialogue schemes to prevent conflicts and to achieve sustainable peace. Mexico will be guided by 3 general guidelines. First, to comply with human rights and fundamental freedoms, including the freedom of speech, religious freedom, the right to live free from fear, and freedom from want. Second, to promote cooperation for sustainable development, including the protection of the environment. Third, to ensure that force is not used in any conflict and to impede the hegemonic power of states from being imposed on others. To fulfill all these needs, first, Mexico will strengthen its participation in UN peacekeeping operations and special political missions. Second, Mexico will continue to promote efforts that contribute to the inclusion of a gender perspective and the advancement and empowerment of women in peace and security issues. Third, in order to strengthen international cooperation for the reduction of illicit arms flows, in accordance with Objective 16.4 of the 2030 Agenda, Mexico will continue to promote the implementation of international and regional conventions and mechanisms regarding the illicit arms trade. Fourth, our country will maintain its commitment to the implementation and monitoring of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. As president of the groups of Friends of National Voluntary Reviews and the follow-up and review of the 2030 Agenda, Mexico will promote a comprehensive vision of all SDGs in the high-level political forum and will reiterate the need to avoid a divided perspective in the implementation. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mexico. Now we will move on to the question round.
Mexico, a question to you is, the Mexican military has been under civilian government control with no president of Mexico, being military generals since 1946. Has this benefited the country in any form? If not, then how does the government plan to change this?
Good question. Having a president with no military background means the head of the country is more compassionate towards the need of the people and does not always look to solve problems with a heavy hand, which involves armed forces. The president will only look to deploy the military in cases where the police fall short of the parameters set for them or in cases where the jurisdiction is outside the purview of the local and federal police, like handling drug problems, which are best handled by the military. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mexico. Now on to the reporters, please.
Yes, my question is, while the decision of Agenda 2030 was taken way back, the development seems pretty slow in all these years. May we know the path-breaking steps Mexico is taking to come back on track and achieve the agenda?
Mexico, thank you for asking that. It's a nice question. First, Mexico and the Latin America and Caribbean region as a whole have faced a challenge with lower long-term growth rates than other parts of the developing world, owing to weak investment and persistent vulnerability to external shocks. The region in the past failed to take advantage of economic upswings to boost diversification, which affected its response to events in the form of a sluggish global economic recovery, greater financial volatility, and falling commodity prices. However, all is not lost. The country is making initial progress with implementing the 2030 Agenda. In December 2019, Mexico adopted a national strategy to achieve the goals set. The first states and municipalities have already started aligning their development plans with the 2030 Agenda, and the government is beginning to mobilize funds for development. Structures for implementing the 2030 Agenda have been established at national level and in 2 states. Therefore, to answer your question, our beginning was slow, but we are progressing. The strategy is a long-term vision, and we're confident that we will achieve what we have planned for. Thank you, and for your kind attention.
Thank you for answering.
Thank you, Mexico. That was a very beautifully framed answer.
Next, we have the delegate of United Kingdom. Delegate, you may begin now.
If the human race wishes to have a prolonged and indefinite period of prosperity, they have only got to behave in a peaceful and helpful way. A very warm good morning to the EB and one and all present here. On behalf of Queen Elizabeth II and the Government of United Kingdom, the delegation of UK is pleased to be an active member of the United Nations Security Council in order to discuss the important topic of global peace. The delegation and the Republic of UK believes that the protection of civilians against violence and human rights violations should be one of the issues of paramount importance in the forefront of all Security Council resolutions. The UK has always been a strong supporter and a standard set out in the international humanitarian law and international criminal law tribunals, including the International Criminal Law Court. Being one of the most forefront developed countries, we play a strong role in promoting the protection of civilians in armed conflict by acting as a party to international law humanitarian treaties. In order to promote peace and humanity in the world, the delegation of UK would like to state that in June 2021, the UK Secretary of General Foreign Affairs and Federal Minister of Foreign Affairs Germany has signed a joint declaration to promote humanitarian affairs and respond better to humanitarian crises. This joint declaration is the first bilateral agreement between the USA and Germany on foreign and security policy issues. In Rise to Sum Up, the UK would like to state that we have already taken an initiative of peacekeeping by the G7 Liverpool meeting. The Foreign Secretary, Elizabeth Truss, was the main representative of UK and organizer in the G7 Foreign and Development Ministers meeting, which took place on 11th December and 12th December 2021, to discuss their shared interests and values and collaborate as an economic and security partners. In the end, we propose to help other member nations in all possible ways with respect to our nation's laws and policies administered by the constitutional monarch of UK under the Queen Elizabeth II and parliamentary government under the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, which will help us to achieve the goal of global peace.
Thank you, Delegate. May we now have a few questions?
UK, a question for you is, you mentioned that the UK has signed a declaration with Germany regarding various issues which included China. How, according to you, has China hindered global peace?
Thank you for the question. China, being a communist country, has, I guess, already hindered the global peace in various ways. First of all, we all know that because of China's bioweapon, we all are already shattered with the novel coronavirus. And China, being China, has not stopped there. China has already started and is continuing to take up territories from various nations, including Hong Kong and India, and which is obviously causing a great hindrance to global peace.
Thank you, UK. On to the reporters, please.
Good morning, Delegate of UK. My question for you is, your position paper says that the UK government policy is based on the same idea that the protection of civilians in armed conflict is central to improving the effectiveness of the humanitarian system, both nationally and internationally. But forget conflicts, police brutality is also a problem in the UK, particularly for the Black people and the working class people. Many similar cases to the George Floyd case were also found in the UK. Protests on the issues have been happening since 1999. What is your take on this? When do the armed forces plan on starting treating each and every citizen equally?
Thank you for this question. I believe that we had a deep-rooted values which were actually not cleared correctly, but we have started to take actions against this. And I believe that it is wrong to discriminate anybody on the basis of racial discrimination. So for this, in June 22, 2020, the Black Lives Matter UK campaign was organized which was covered widely in demonstrations across Britain. The campaign seeks the end to racial injustice and discrimination among Black African and Black Caribbean communities in the UK, specifically the disproportionate policing of Black communities. The demonstration started as a response to the horrific murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, United States. They quickly came into focus into institutional racism, which normalized the practice of disadvantaging and delegitimatizing the devaluing racial sections of the populations in Britain's society. So it obviously will take time to overcome this, but we are surely working on it.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you. That was indeed quite elaborative. Well done, Delegate.
Now we have the delegate of Republic of Korea. Delegate, you may take the stage now.
Annyeonghaseyo, dear EBs. I'm the delegate of Republic of Korea. The global index GPI measures more than just the presence or absence of war. It captures the absence of violence or the fear of violence. South Korea maintains the goal of peace and calm country. South Korea was largely a consumer of security protected and supported by the United Nations and others to ensure peace and stability on the peninsula. South Korea's economic takeoff and ascent as a rising has changed. The ROK increased its contribution to international peace and security, becoming more of a provider of global security. Those two areas where South Korea has made particularly important contributions have been international development assistance and peacekeeping operations. South Korea's increased development assistance has been substantial and larger than most during the global economic turmoil, and it remains a staunch supporter of peacekeeping operations. It participates in the UN, and even the entertainment industry showcases peace and love. ROK government will continue its efforts to achieve complete denuclearization and the establishment of peace and solid peace regime on the Korean peninsula, with the international community such as the United Nations and the US making a political declaration of ending the war a starting point for peace negotiations. The ROK government will go for peace agreement at the final stage of complete denuclearization. Accordingly, 6 rounds of 4-party talks in which two Koreas, the US, the China participated were held to discuss a peace regime on the Korean peninsula. Due to significant gaps in position concerning issues, the 4-party talks failed to produce fruitful outcomes. The international community does not accept North Korea as a nuclear weapon state under any circumstance. The unified resolve of the international community to not tolerate North Korea's repeated provocations and violations of international obligations while thoroughly implementing these UN SCRs and its unilateralization sanctions measures, the ROK government will continue to offer a brighter future once the denuclearization is achieved and encourage North Korea's more forthcoming measures. In his last few months of the office, the president of the Republic of Korea, Moon Jae-in, has conveyed the want to have a diplomatic breakthrough with North Korea and push for an end of war declaration. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. We will now move on to the question round.
So, Delegate of Korea, over the years, we have seen thousands of North Korean defectors settling in South Korea. My question to you is, having North Korea as its neighbor, how is Republic of Korea ensuring peace in the country and amongst its citizens?
Thank you for the question. Thousands of defectors have managed to escape life in the isolated dictatorship, but for those who fled, the resettlement in South Korea is only the beginning. And so it explains how some of them could pose a threat, but they are not only vulnerable victims themselves, even so they go through many checkup tests, counseling with the intelligence service. Then there are 3 months of an institution called Hanawon, a resettlement education facility run by South Korean government. There are also community centers that provide sources for resettled refugees. They tend to focus on this period, helping defectors get settled up with mobile phones and a bank account, as well as getting acquainted with their local community. A counselor or defector who has already settled provides additional support. North Koreans who settle in South Korea are assigned a police officer who keep an eye on them for their safety and others.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you for elucidating the motion, Delegate. Well-researched answer.
Finally, we have the delegate of Egypt. Delegate, you have 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Yes, now am I audible?
Yes, Delegate.
Good morning, EBs and one and all present here. I am the delegate of Egypt Global Peace. When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace. As we all know, global peace is a concern in today's time. Countries are competing to be the world power. So on behalf of Egypt, I would like to throw some light on global peace and how we're contributing to help the world to be a better place. What is global peace? Peace at national level or national state of stability, progress, and freedom from civil disorder. International peace or peaceful relation among all nations is called global peace. Egypt is ranking at position 126 of the 2021 Global Peace Index. Challenges include rising inflation, a weak Egyptian pound, and high levels of unemployment. Egyptians have the potential to lead to widespread unrest, having already resulted in nationwide protests. Environmental factors like climate change is affecting both water and food security in Egypt. Egypt's environmental problems include, but are not limited to water scarcity, air pollution, damage to historic monuments, animal welfare issues. But government of Egypt are solving the issues facing by their citizens. The fundamental rights of Egypt are freedom of speech, freedom of religion, status of religious and ethnic minorities, status of women, child labor, status of Palestinians, extrajudicial execution. If we talk about Egypt's foreign policies, Egypt's foreign policies operate along a non-line level. Factors such as population size, historical events, military strength, diplomatic expertise, and a strategic geographical position give Egypt extensive political influence in the Middle East, Africa, and within the North non-aligned movement as a whole. If Egypt wants to strong its currency, it has to increase export and import of goods which are famous in Egypt. They have to create a new venture for tourism. It will bring employment for Egyptians. Environment of Egypt should be tourist friendly. They should adopt more water harvesting technology. Egyptians should try to develop the green gun according to their climatic conditions to prevent air pollution. At last, I want to say, every personal, professional, and global problem has a solution, but we have to concentrate and should have ability to coordinate. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. May we now have the questions?
So, Delegate of Egypt, an annual State Department report on Egypt's human rights record cited numerous examples of abuse by government security forces, including extrajudicial killings, abductions, torture, arbitrary detentions, and inhumane prison conditions. How does the government plan to prevent this? Delegate of Egypt.
Delegate of Egypt, would you like to answer the question? It seems Delegate of Egypt is again facing some problems. All right, it's all right. Well done, all the delegates. With this, we have come to the end of the Global Peace Agenda. Speech is power. Speech is to persuade, to convert, and to compel. Thank you, delegates, for the informative session. The ideas and suggestions put forth in this agenda will surely benefit our community. It is true, global peace cannot be achieved in a day. However, it all begins with a step.
Earth is the cradle of humanity, but mankind cannot stay in its cradle forever. Next agenda of conclave battle of wits is space race. The same rules will be followed. Each delegate will be given 2 minutes 30 seconds to state their case. After 2 minutes, a bell will be rung asking you to conclude your speech. Exceeding the time limit will result in deduction of marks. After the speech, you will be asked one question by the President or the Vice President. You will have 2 minutes 30 seconds to answer the question. You will be judged on your confidence, speaking skills, accuracy of the information, and how you answer the question. With all that underway, I request the President to commence with the roll call.
We will now begin with our second agenda, space race. Please attend to your roll call, and when your country's name is announced, please say present and speaking. United States?
Present and speaking.
China?
Present and speaking.
France?
Present and speaking.
Federal Republic of Germany? India? India?
And speaking.
Russia?
Present and speaking.
United Kingdom?
Present and speaking.
All right. So first, we have the delegate of the United States. Delegate, you may begin now.
Thank you.
Greeting EVs and one and all present here. I am the delegate of the United States of America going to speak about the American space race. We all know the space is a field which is full of mysteries and theories to solve. And with the expanding universe, we need to expand our researches and the technologies to keep up with it. The space race is not only an opportunity to advance in technology, but as a crucial battlefront in the burgeoning Cold War with the Soviet Union. Even right now, NASA's aim is to explore every corner of this universe with safety. After the successful lunar landing on July 20th, 1969, US is said to be gotten the first rank in space race due to its skillful scientists, astronauts, and advanced problem operation skills. And no doubt it certainly has. And also to prove it, take an example of the Apollo 13 mission. If the situation wasn't handled correctly, the astronauts would never get to see the Earth again. Now, our government has also allowed the opening of one's very own space business like SpaceX. This is found in the Commerce Clause found in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 of the US Constitution. NASA is even promoting the reduction of space junk as it can be very harmful for the upcoming missions and for the ISS as well. It has also given an assurance of using less fuel and money. NASA's one of the recent projects, which is Excel-1 lander, is designed to bring 8 payloads to the lunar surface in 2023. The lander will launch from the Cape Canaveral on a SpaceX booster and land in the Hayward crater near the south pole of the moon, operating for about 12 days before the lunar lightfall. SpaceX, a company known for its reusable rockets and boosters, has also signed a contract with NASA for almost $3 billion for using the Starship rocket to take astronauts from the lunar orbit to the surface of the moon. And that's all of it.
Thank you, Delegate. We will now move on to the question round.
USA. A question for you is, who do you consider is ahead in the space race? The USA or the Russian Federation?
That's a very good question. Thank you. The answer is very real clear. NASA is way better than the Russian Federation. The Russian Federation is very recent and rules on a very low budget, whereas comparing to NASA, which is much older and much experienced with a very huge budget. In 1996, Russia tried to launch Mars 96, its first interplanetary mission since the dissolution of the Soviet Union. However, it failed to depart the Earth's orbit, to which considering of NASA's, which has 5 active robotic rovers on the surface of Mars. The Russian Federation has Sputnik 1 as its fastest going artificial satellite, which has only traveled about 588 miles away from the Earth, whereas NASA has Voyager 1, still in the good condition and operating, which has almost traveled more than 23 billion kilometers. This shows that the Russian Federation doesn't stand a chance against NASA.
Thank you, USA.
Thank you, Delegate. That was quite a detailed and well-researched answer. Well done, Delegate.
Now we have the delegate of China. Delegate, you may take the stage now.
Am I audible and visible?
You're audible, but not, yeah, you're audible and visible.
Okay. Greetings, I am representing China in this committee on the peaceful uses of outer space. China signed the 1967 Outer Space Treaty on 27 January 1967, ratified on 24 July 1970, and exceeded on 30th December 1983. It is a stance that mankind and even find a space for existence and development. Talking about the potential of our country in the outer space development, we hold the record for the most space launches in 2021, that 55 launches, and our space funding has increased markedly in recent years to 8.9 billion in 2020. Our space program has made immense advances in recent years, from completing its own global satellite navigation system and collecting lunar samples to landing a spacecraft on Mars and sending astronauts to its own space station. We want to use all of our capabilities and potential for the promotion of the mankind and social progress. China is always committed to the peaceful exploration, and we will continue cooperation with other countries as well as the United Nations. Therefore, we from this important and prestigious platform want to announce that we have committed to provide the developing states midterm and long-term scholarships through the UN Office of Outer Space Affairs and the Asian Pacific Economic and Social Council, and to provide both with 8 scholarships for space technology training. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Also, I would like to point out that your video is not visible now. So if you could turn that on and we could move on with the question. Yeah, it's visible now.
So, Delegate of China, my question for you is, what are China's further plans in order to develop itself with context to space race?
We have launched a new crew of 3 astronauts into space, recently beginning the longest trip so far to the country's orbiting space station, called Tiangong or Heavenly Place, construction of which is scheduled to be completed by the end of this year.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Delegate. That was a beautifully framed answer.
Next, we have the delegate of France. Delegate, you may begin now.
Greetings to the EB and MUN present here. I am the delegate of France. The beginning of the institutional French space program dates back to 1946, when right after World War II, the LRBA, Ballistic and Aerodynamic Research Laboratory, was formed in Vermont to develop the next generation of rockets, partially taking advantage of the German development of the V2 rocket. Before this and during the war, as a Free France continued to work, the EA-41 was tested and improved by military personnel from October 1942 through 1945. 22 May 1952, Veronique N1 successfully launched from the Saharan Desert. In 1958, President Charles de Gaulle directed the creation of several space research committees. In 1959, the committee, the Étude des Spécialistes, was born under the supervision of Père Auger. In 1961, de Gaulle signed the creation of the Centre National d'Études des Spécialistes, CNES, to coordinate French space activities. Development of Western Europe's first carrier rocket in the Diamond began in 1962, first launched in Algeria. On November 26, 1965, the Asterix, the first French satellite in space, is successfully launched by Diamond rocket by Algerine Desert. It is active for 2 consecutive days before ceasing to transmit. In 1965, France Space Launch Pads and CNES Cocker. In 1973, France impulsed the creation of the European Space Agency and became its first contributor. 2023 will mark the launch of the Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer. It will study Jupiter and 3 of its moons with a view to gaining new insights into how life emerged. This mission is a collaboration of CNES, National Center for Space Studies, with CNRS and ESA. In 2025, France and Germany will launch their collaboration mission Merlin due to the study methane levels and contraction in Earth atmosphere. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Delegate. On to the question round now.
Delegate of France, my question for you is, with the increasing development in the space race, there is also increase in the creation of a lot of trash around the planet. What is the country doing for the management of this?
Thank you for your question. On way to remove these inactive satellites from orbit is pulling them down to the Earth's atmosphere, where they will burn up. To accomplish this, the ESA developed the space claw known as Clear Space 1, which will launch in 2025 and is designed to capture, dispose of space junk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate, for the short and crisp answer. Very well researched.
Next, we have the Delegate of India. Delegate, your time starts now.
Yes. Greetings. Greetings, CP. I am representative of India Space Race. We all know our universe is all of space and time and their contents, including planets, stars, galaxies, and all other forms of energy. But still, There are many things that are undiscovered that we don't know. But we human beings are continuously exploring, discovering, learning space day by day. From launching Aryabhatta to sending spacecraft to the moon, India has came a long way in its space journey, and we Indians are enormously proud of it. Due to its achievements and efforts, India is one of the global players in the space race. ISRO is the National Space Agency of India for the purpose of all space-based applications. There are many achievements made by Indians through ISRO. Some of them are Aryabhatta, India's first satellite, named after the famous Indian astronomer, and he was launched on April 1975. Chandrayaan 1 was the first Indian lunar probe under the Chandrayaan program. It was launched by ISRO on October 22, 2008. On November 15, 2013, India launched Mars Orbiter mission and became the first country to succeed on its maiden attempt to Mars. On November 15, 2017, India became the first nation in the world to have launched over 100 satellites in one mission. Chandrayaan 2 is the second lunar exploration mission developed by the ISRO. It was launched on July 22, 2019. ISRO is one of the 6 space agencies in the world with the capability to build and launch satellites from its own soil. When most of the countries rely on US-based GPS system for their navigational purpose, India has successfully launched its own navigational satellites, IRNES, and ISRO has also begun the preparation for Gaganyaan, and it will launched by next year. Furthermore, it has boosted the reputations of India in the world as a nation of scientific thought and development. In the future, ISRO will continue its noble mission of space and technology exploration in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Very well spoken. We will now move on to the question round.
Delegate of India, my question for you is, what is India's plans for achieving cost-effective rockets like SpaceX Falcon?
Yes. Presently, rockets are used for one-time launch only. So we have to produce a new rocket again for every new launch. So it is very expensive. So to make cost-effective rockets, ISRO has revealed plans to develop reusable rockets launch technology. This technology saves our money and time.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Delegate, for that intricate answer. Now we have the delegate of the Russian Federation. Delegate, the floor is all yours.
Good morning and greetings to the EB and one and all present here. On behalf of the people of Russia, the Russian delegation is pleased to participate in this committee in order to discuss the topic space race. Roscosmos was founded in 1992, which is responsible for managing the Russian space program. Its headquarters are in Moscow. The head of Roscosmos is assisted by a board, a science and engineering council, and the heads of 11 departments. Sputnik is one of the first of a series of the 3 artificial satellites, the first of whose launch by the Soviet Union was on October 4, 1957, which inaugurated the space race. We would also like to emphasize that recently in July 2021, Russia's Nauka, a module which successfully docked to the International Space Station, it was the first expansion of the Russian segment to the station in more than a decade. It is designed as a laboratory. It also adds more sleeping space for the cosmonauts, and the new module of Nauka was launched to the station on a Proton M rocket on July 2021. The successful docking was met with a fanfare in Moscow. We would also like to state that in 2021, the Russian Federation and China has joined hands in the space race, and the 2 countries have teamed up for a robotic mission as well to an asteroid in 2024. We are also coordinating a series of lunar missions intended to build a permanent research base on the south pole of the moon by 2030. It was launched last year in October 2021 on schedule with an aim to locate the ice that could provide water for future human visits. We would also like to mention that we are ready to start building our own space station by with the aim of launching it into the orbit by 2030. I'm extremely pleased and proud to inform that we are also developing a reusable space plane, which is a subsidiary of the Kalashnikov conglomerate, which was press released on March 24, 2021. The project is now under development, and per the recent statement given by the General Director of the MUN and to again set those standards in the space race. In the end, we would like to tell that we are open to collaborate with the other allied member nations in this space race, and also are always on board to keep space peace, but only with respect to our country's policy and the abiding laws. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. May we now have a few questions from the EB?
So, Delegate, a question for you is, you mentioned the Americans being shocked at the Russian Federation's achievements. Do you consider USA as your only rival in the space race?
No, we consider almost every country as rivals and friends in the space race.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you. That was quite of a good response.
Finally, we have the delegate of the United Kingdoms. Delegate, you have 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Good morning, EVs and fellow delegates and everyone present here. I am the delegate of UK. United Kingdom history dates back to 1933, when scientific interest in space travel existed in the United Kingdom prior to the World War II. Particularly amongst the members of the British Interplanetary Society, founded in 1933, whose members included Sir Arthur C. Clarke, author and conveyor of the British geostationary telecommunications satellite, who joined the BIAs before the World War II. Yet people have the chance and to share of £50,000 and expert advice for their ideas on how satellite could improve life on Earth in competition run by the UK Space Agency. With Britain's first satellite launch set to take place this year, the satellite competition is looking for the best new ideas how to use data collected from space to benefit daily life, from supporting local communities and the NHS to monitoring the environment and tackling climate change. The UK-built ExoMars Rosalind Franklin rover is set for launch in September after a series of successful tests, including driving off its landing platform. The European Space Agency ESA rover starts the year with 2 months of successful maintenance and functional test behind it. Following the nerve-wracking descent to the surface of Mars, a long-awaited movement in the ExoMars mission will be when Rosalind leaves the landing platform and drives onto the Martian soil for the first time. The ESA NASA mission, which launched in February 2020 and had already taken the closest image ever of the Sun, captured information about the particles and the magnetic field present in the tail of the comet. This will allow astronomers to study the way the comet interacts with the solar wind, the stream energetic particles that emanate from the Sun and sweeps through the solar system. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Now may we move on to the question round?
The delegate of UK. Why has it never been government policy to create a British astronaut corps?
A very good question. Thank you for the question. The British space program has always emphasized and crewed space research and commercial initiatives. It has never been government policy to create a British astronaut corps. The British government did not provide funding for the International Space Station until 2020.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you. That was a beautifully phrased answer.
All the most powerful speeches ever made point to a better future. Thank you, delegates, for putting forward your notion and activities regarding space race and space travel. Stephen Hawking said, I don't think the human race will survive the next 1,000 years unless we spread into space. And this conclave brought to discussion the very fact which might ensure the survival of human race.
Now onwards, leaders of the dignity revolution. When God closes one door, God opens another. The conclave is now closed, but it has opened us to our power, our joy, and our reckless bravery. Let us imagine the world where we wish to live in and build it now. The revolution has begun anew. Watch out, world, because here we come. A sense of overwhelming elation sweeps over us as the knell has been struck to herald the closing ceremony of the inaugural session of Conclave Battle of Wits.
I hope this exciting experience not only have broadened their horizons of understanding, but must have left a lingering taste of togetherness, which will surely find a befitting niche in their memories. As we come to the end of this closing of this gala event, we present before you the UN song to convey the essence of what UN stands for.
What we learn and what we know will make what we become. There's nothing good to gain in life by acting like we're dumb. We have our minds, we have the right to know. We're smart, and wise, our knowledge makes us grow. We talk the talks, we walk the walks, we know education rocks. We talk the talks, we walk the walks, we know education rocks and rolls. Yeah, it rocks and rolls. Yeah, it rocks. Ignorance and apathy are baggage for a fool. There's nothing smart in dropping out. We'll keep ourselves in school. We'll use our brains, let education rule. We're smart, and wise, our knowledge makes us cool. We talk the talks, we walk the walks, we know education rocks. We talk the talks, we walk the walks, we know education rocks.
Thank you for that beautiful rendition. The highest reward for one's toil is not what one gets for it, but what one becomes by it. Today, all of us witnessed an enthusiastic and enriching participation from all the delegates as they came here today with immense amount of dedication, research, and articulation to convey the global message of the conclave. I can see the excitement and thrill raging through all the committee members who are eagerly waiting to know who is the first to make it to the finishing.
Putting your anxieties to rest, may I now request our school coordinator, Ms. Bindu Sangwan, to kindly declare the laudable achievers for the event Conclave Battle of Wits, Global Peace and Space Race.
Thank you so much, Tisha and Arzu. So actually, I know there would be goosebumps, and you people are going to listen to the result, and the goosebumps I'm also, feeling while declaring the result. Anyways, but before I disclose the result, let me share it with you, that I couldn't move away from the screen. People were coming to me and wanted to discuss things. I said, no, please stop. Let me listen to the delegates, because the way they were answering and the way they have, come up with their research papers. Hats off to all of you. Can we have a round of applause for everyone? I mean, like, I was thinking when Tisha and Trishna, they had put up that, ma'am, we shall start this conclave from the participants of class 8 onwards. And then after a day or two, they shared back with me that, ma'am, we can have it from class 6th and 7th as well. So I was elated today to see such good speakers that we are grooming here, and the way they were speaking with the confidence, the research papers they had put up, and the way they were answering the questions. I was literally, I got to know so many things, but then the way you people picked up your topics and the way you have presented. So congratulations to all the delegates. So now the result. For Agenda 1, Global Peace. Okay. The best speaker goes to, I request Deepak sir, if he can pin the delegate of Russia and the delegate of UK for global peace. Probably sir may not be able to locate, or if he can, so I will be very much thankful to him. So congratulations to delegate of Russia and delegate of UK as best speaker. All right. And the next is best position paper. Before the event started, I know. So the Republic of Korea. Congratulations. Answer goes to delegate of Pakistan. Congratulations. And special mention goes to two people again. It's delegate of Ireland and delegate of Mexico. So congratulations to all the delegates of Agenda 1, that is global peace. And now we are moving towards result of second agenda of our conclave today, that is space race. And the best speaker goes to delegate of France. Congratulations. Next is best position paper that goes to delegate of USA. Congratulations. The best answer goes to delegate of China. Congratulations. And the special mention goes to delegate of UK. So many congratulations to all our delegates, and the way you people have spoken today. It has given us really a confidence to speak in front of anybody, that you please come and see how our children, they speak, the confidence, the way they are gaining the 21st century skills, and the way they are gaining the information regarding the sustainable development goals. Congratulations. Over to you. Thank you. Disha.
Congratulations, everyone. A round of applause for all the participants for their enthusiasm and zealous participation.
Centuries ago, a mystic wrote, "If the only prayer you ever say your entire life is thank you, that will be enough." Today, our prayer is thank you. So I request our school head girl, Tisha Mazumdar, to propose the vote of thanks.
The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Namaskar, everyone, once again. Let me extend a very warm gratitude to all of you for joining us here for Conclave Battle of Wits. Today, as we come to the close of Conclave 2022, it is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks to all those who have helped in making this event a roaring success. It is rightly said, coming together is the beginning, keeping together is a progress, and working together is a success. Thus, I would also like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the school management for always guiding and lighting our paths to success. Next, I extend my heartfelt thanks to our respected school principal, Miss Archana Narayan, for her valuable guidance, support, and encouragement that has given a new impetus to this event. While the delegates worked hard to propose various solutions through their speeches, the judges worked harder and analyzed every delegate with a critical eye to announce their judgment. So I thank our first judge, Ms. Gargi Chatterjee, who despite her busy schedule, found time to grace the occasion. My heartfelt thanks to our second judge, Ms. Sonia Arora, for sparing her valuable time to judge our future delegates and aiding them to attain their highest potential. I agree when Misty Copeland said that anything is possible when you have the right people there to support you. With a deep sense of appreciation, I thank the entire TIHS fraternity for their untiring efforts and for always motivating us. My sincere gratitude goes to all the parents for their rock-solid support system and encouragement. Without their support, we would not have been able to achieve this excellence.